This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only.
Fora TV. Idea Immersion. Visit us at www.fora.tv.
Funding for this program is provided by the Surdna Foundation, the Leland Fikes Foundation, and Care2.com.
Our task is, you're noticing the difference already. I mean, we have a blogosphere with a certain reach. We have Air America now reaching out. We have Link TV out there reaching the public as well. So our task is not as difficult a task. We just need to get out there and start explaining what we're about. Once the public begins to understand the benefits, that's a marketing word, of progressive values, they'll start to come back. It'll be a natural process. Jerome might want to talk about the task of rebuilding the political operation.
It's a big task. You know, I was just reading this article. It's a great article. If you go on to consortiumnews.com, it's by Robert Perry, and it's called Why Democrats Lose. And he basically looks at Busby's race in California, and we've been watching this on the net roots for the past few months, and it was a long shot to begin with. It was a district that had a Republican advantage in registration by over 20 points, which is up on the 80 to 90% most Republican districts out there. But he basically writes this article that the Republicans have a highly sophisticated system for bouncing on Democrats that they will unleash at the most opportune time. And it was just a perfect example of that, where she made a gaffe on Friday in front of some Latinos about immigrants and voting. The Republicans, who, as Marco said, have spent years creating this infrastructure through media outlets that can reach all their different segments, they broadcasted that immediately through all the different areas. And it really just highlighted the faults we have in terms of how our consultants are driving our campaigns. And I don't, besides culture corruption, I don't know really what Busby said out there in the California 50. She didn't have much of a message. She wasn't really inspiring people. She was just saying, look how bad they are. Let's get somebody in there that's at least competent. But we have to approach this with a more fundamental, inspiring message if we're going to do that. And I think where that came for her was listening from the DCCC and their consultants that they hired to go out there and give her what to say in order that she would receive their funds. And it's a fundamentally flawed way to campaign, and it doesn't really respond to what the Republicans have on their side.
Can I add? I want to add one thing because I think it's important. That I think that we need to all be on the lookout, and this is might be a slightly controversial topic here, even among the panel, is that I think that we need to be focused on building infrastructure that has, at least in the policy and ideas segment, that is comfortable with a progressive ideology. That I was watching a couple months ago Bill Bennett at the Conservative, at a conference of conservatives. And I'm a nerd. It was like late at night. I was flipping around. I still watch C-SPAN out in Montana. And he said, Republicans see, I'm sorry, I butchered it. Conservatives see the Republican Party as a means to an end, and that is why we win. Liberals see the Democratic Party as an end, and that's why they lose. And that's a very important point, is that they have built up an infrastructure outside of the Republican Party that is designed to ideologically pressure the Republican Party on conservative grounds. And that what's even more important to understand is that Republican politicians and Republican Party operatives understand and appreciate the value of that infrastructure outside of their apparatus, even though it might make some of their colleagues inside of the party apparatus uncomfortable. Let me make it more specific. The Tom DeLay understands the value of having an outside ideological infrastructure to pressure moderate Republicans in the House to keep them in line. George Bush and Karl Rove understand the value of having an outside ideological conservative infrastructure to run somebody like Pat Toomey against moderate Arlen Specter. Whether Toomey won or lost, and he lost, it didn't matter. A message was sent that there is an ideological infrastructure out here designed to keep people like Arlen Specter in line. And if anybody in the Republican Party wants to behave like Arlen Specter, they better watch out. And so as we move forward from this moment of organizing and building infrastructure, I think that we need to, my opinion is we need to embrace infrastructure that has sharp, crisp ideology that transcends just going after George Bush and Republicans just because they're George Bush and Republicans, as odious as they are. And I think it's a very critical point that the right understood and has understood for a long time, and that I think our side is starting to understand, but we need, in my opinion, to really embrace that kind of outlook, because it's not just, and I say this not just because I think it's the right thing to do, just sort of morally, but if you don't care about that, that politically, in a utilitarian way, that's the way the right has really won.
This program was brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news, with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.
Funding for this program was provided by the Srdna Foundation, the Leland Fikes Foundation, and Care2.com.